What's up guys, the Red Cloak here. Today I'll be reviewing chapter 304 of My Academia. You guys already know the gist of it. And this chapter, again, very good. Give us more lore about One For All and about all the uses of One For All. Well, some of them. But if you are new, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and make sure to leave a comment what you liked about this video and other theories you have on the next chapter. I won't waste any time or basically, make this even longer. But let's get right into this review. Chapter kicks off with Deku still in a coma, but All Might is holding onto his hand and saying that he can feel that he's talking to the One For All vestiges. And Deku's still thinking to himself, what happened to everybody who was fighting Shigaraki, like Izawa and Gran Torino, Rocklock, Shoto, and Bakugo. Deku's actually in some room with the One For All users, and they say before he can go and wake up that they need to talk to him. The first user then tells Deku that they were only able to talk to him when he was severely mentally shaken, but over time in the 4 months that One For All has grown exponentially, and now that it is now shaped, they can now talk to each other. So Deku has grown with One For All to the point where the other users of One For All can talk to each other in this vestige world. But since that, AFO kind of infiltrated this whole domain, that they can freely talk to Deku whenever he needs to. Then Banjo, the other user, tells Deku that no need to complain about your privacy because we'll only peep on you when you really need. Again, kind of weird because knowing that these guys can peep on Deku whenever they want. Again, it's kind of weird for Deku knowing that these guys are seeing every move that he makes. Deku then tries to speak, but again, he doesn't have a mouth yet in the vestige world. But the fourth user who has the danger sense quirk tells him that he'll do all the talking, while Deku can try to formulate his mouth in this world. And Deku, it's almost formulating, but Deku can only get off little kind of bits of a word. Shinomori then tells Deku, could you guess how he died? And Deku says you were 40, and Shinomori just answers it up saying that it was old age. And Deku did say that the file on Shinomori that All Might had was blank. Shinomori told Deku that him and Banjo were discussing this, and they came to the conclusion that you cannot hold One For All a normal person. Basically, if you have a quirk. And he just tells Deku that he was the longest person to have One For All besides Yagi-san. Shinomori then says that in the final years of him having the quirk, it broke him. At first, he thought it was the case of having a weak constitution, or better yet worse, but with All Might's existence, he has now come to conclusion that One For All cannot be held by somebody who already has a quirk. The first user of One For All says he died in battle, so he couldn't make anything up for it, but knowing that All Might is still alive, that his vestige isn't yet in the vestige world, he then came to conclusion that yes, All Might was quirkless, and he feels like only quirkless people could be fit for One For All, because it doesn't shorten their lifespan. Because if you have another quirk on top of the quirk of One For All, it's going to drain your lifespan. And everyone is trying to come to the conclusion, why is All Might's consciousness in here? They thought that maybe All Might's consciousness tied to his quirk or tied to the quirk of One For All, but All Might is quirkless, so it wouldn't make sense. And now they're still trying to figure it out, because it looks like All Might is unique in this fact, just like Deku. Deku doesn't have a quirk. People saying Dr. Ujiko stole Deku's quirk, that theory's kind of debunked now, so I guess you can throw that out the window, unless it could be the case, but still, you can still throw it out the window. The first user sums up like this: think of a glass of water. If there's nothing in the glass, you can pour in One For All and nothing goes bad. But if there's already a glass of water, it's going to overflow. One For All overflew those other quirks these other users had. So basically Shinomori, Banjo, and the first user did die from All For One, but still, if you have a quirk, it looks like your time with One For All isn't gonna be that long. It kind of destroys the theory of Deku passing on One For All to Bakugo, because not only would that be kind of terrible, Bakugo's lifespan would be shortened as well. And I think that's why in the Heroes Rising movie, the vestiges decided to go back to Deku, because I think they knew that if they went on to Bakugo, Bakugo would not have much time to live or much time to defeat All For One. He would have a limited amount of time. It's going to be eaten away from his lifespan since he already has a quirk. It also destroys Miro having One For All, because Miro already had a quirk, and again, it'll be eating away from him. Now, although vestiges then come to the conclusion that being quirkless is the main ideal of having One For All, that if you have a quirk, that you're not really a prime good host for it, that you must be quirkless to hold this power. The first user then tells Deku that he cannot risk passing on to another person, since it's rare that a quirkless person is going to appear out of nowhere. And knowing that the generations are becoming stronger and getting more quirks, this is going to be limited. So Deku may be the last user of One for All. So no passing on to Eri. The first user then tells Deku that they wish that they could communicate with their holders previously. But if they did, they would have basically destroyed all deaths that could have happened. Sir Night Eye, because he died because he wanted to have Mirio have One for All. But if All Might was told by these vestiges that, look, a quirkless person is key to having One for All, and maybe, just maybe, Sir Night Eye could be alive, being with All Might, happy. But because they weren't able to manifest and talk to their users in time, that this happened. He's dead. Then everything cuts to Deku, and Banjo then tells him, I'm gonna put in words you understand, kid, that you are the final One for All user. And this is so much stress on Deku, because Deku thought that he could just pass it down to somebody else in case of an emergency, but it looks like he's the final. He is the last hope for One for All, keeping it from All for One's clutches. And remember from season 4 or the overhaul arc that Deku was going to give Mirio One for All. Imagine if he did that. That would put Mirio's life in danger because of now the new information that we have from One for All. And for the people saying that Mirio should have been the main character, should have got One for All, it's destroyed. The theory is destroyed, or any what if for it is destroyed. And it looks like Deku will not be passing on to anyone else unless he can find an alibi. Deku should pass it down to somebody regardless. I don't think he should because it's risky. It's a very risky move. He doesn't want to put anyone else's life in danger. So I think it's best that he keeps One for All. But if he's able to find an alibi, I'll be for it. I wouldn't mind it. Because I want to see the One for All grow through generations, not just through Deku. But it looks like it has to grow through Deku, which again, I don't mind. I think that's pretty good. Deku then holds his hand up and knows that he's the last one to inherit this godly power. Again, I already said it, One for All is a curse, not a blessing. Nana Shimura tells Deku that was the main topic, and she tells him could he do something for her. And Deku just looks at her, and she tells Deku, are you able to kill Shigaraki for me? That's where the chapter ends, but it leaves us on a cliffhanger. We need to know Deku's answer. But I think everyone should know what Deku's answer was. When Deku was in the Vestige world fighting AFO with other One for All users, Shigaraki, again from Deku's words, it looked like he needed saving. And it looks like Nana Shimura has lost faith that Shigaraki can turn a new leaf. It looks like he's just fully manipulated. And you gotta feel bad for Nana Shimura because she's been watching this through the Vestige world, seeing her grandson become what he is today. And I feel like she now realizes that only death will really set Shigaraki free. I know some people could say that Nana doesn't care about Shigaraki, she wants him to die. This is probably the only way that she thinks that Shigaraki can be stopped, by killing him. And I don't really think it's her fault for thinking this way. She's been seeing everything that he's been doing, and she knows he's a menace to society. I mean, just look at this. He really said, screw Bakugo, I don't care about your new hero name, and got him out the way. You sure this guy isn't a menace to society? If you guys do want to know what happens next, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Again, we're at 6.2k subs, which again is pretty impressive. We can get 7k probably in 2 months, but let's try to get it next month. But it's been the Red Cloak. I'm headed out of here. This chapter was a good 8.5 out of 10, and I'm out, guys. Peace.